right, welcome back to All Hitches, America's #1 Nova Football podcast, your barbershop for all things Nova football. Mesa, speaking of barbershops, you kind of trimmed the beard a little bit.
I did. I mean, it grows out a little bit too long, and time to shave a little bit.
Sharp, man. They can look sharp, buddy. I'm going to start growing mine out now as we get into fall.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I get a little scraggly sometimes, and I get itchy. I don't know. Maybe I got dry skin. It gets itchy.
Well,
so
if this podcast doesn't work out for us, we can do a hair club for men, facial hair club for men podcast.
facial hair club for men. There are people who can't grow facial hair well. There are people out there,
and I'm jealous of those people sometimes.
Yeah.
this is like 2 days. This is 2 days after I shaved.
I always think about when you're a kid, right? When you're little, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to shave. Like you see your dad, you see your uncle, to shave. And you're like, oh man, can't wait. And then the day comes when you start shaving, and then you're like, This is awful.
Well, buddy, great week of scrimmages. Great, 2 or 3 from Wednesday to Friday, man. There was action-packed, good games. So action-packed that you were sent a slew of highlights, my friend, and you're going to tell us who the grand winner is of Highlight of the Week. So tell us all about what's going on with the highlights.
So we sent out the tweet. We sent some instructions on how to submit your plays of the week. We got quite a few, a lot of really great plays. I saw, because I watch games, there are some plays I was like, oh man, I hope we get that one in, but unfortunately didn't send it in. And there were some explosive plays. And this week, our inaugural, the first one ever. There can only be one
first one ever. I can give you the Clark drum roll.
It goes to Lake Braddock's Kai Austin and Ty Jackson. Kai, bye Austin.
Nice.
Ty Action Jackson. First play from scrimmage when they start going to drive the field part. 80-yard touchdown. 80-yard touchdown. Of which
Ding.
we have.
I need a bell. Ding.
Of which we have created a video for him. Boom, there it is. 80-yard touchdown.
Look at that. Made it look easy.
Easy.
Just gliding.
This won't be the only one of the year.
That's the kind of this guy's superpower is gliding and hands like glue.
I got a feeling we sent this out to Kai, so he does have it, and he does actually have it with the audio to it as well. We sent it out to him. My guess is this won't be the first time we're going to see Kai Austin.
I think you're right.
Kai Austin and Ty Jackson are going to be pretty lethal this year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think we're going to see a little more of that combination this season.
Yeah,
you don't need to be the. It was what was Johnny Carson when he was the great Kreskin or whatever he was.
The great Kreskin. Oh yeah.
You don't need to be Johnny Carson to figure that one out. I think you're going to see a lot of those two guys throwing moonshots.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be exciting. But I mean, those two in particular. I mean,
yeah. I saw a couple of good ones. I saw some good ones. I don't know if they were the ones that got sent into you or not, but I definitely saw some. I mean, they're hot, and I think the internet age, man, and these highlights are coming out like they were coming out that night. Kids were getting home right away, boom, putting them out there.
But if if you can get them to us, we'd like to be able to make an edit for you guys like that. Hopefully we'll continue on. Whoever makes a play of the week, we'll get themselves an edit. We'll send it out to them. You can put it on your socials.
Yeah.
And Braddock has 2 quarterbacks who can sling a little bit. I mean, other than that, so Kai Austin has 2 guys, a lefty and a righty. You got Koufax and Drysdale.
That's right.
Throwing in pitches.
That's right.
Of which none of the kids listening to this right now know who Koufax or Drysdale are.
But they know Montana and Steve Young.
That's a good one right there.
At the righty and the left.
Michael Vick and who would be Michael Vick's contemporary?
Well, on the same team, you're going Michael Vick. Matt Schaub.
Michael Vick and Matt Schaub.
Matt Schaub was a Pro Bowl quarterback for a number of years.
Who's a big lefty we have right now in the NFL? Lefty in the NFL right now.
I'm making this up. I don't know the answer.
I'm drawing a blank. I don't think that
Stroud's not a lefty, is he?
Stroud's not a lefty. They're all righties.
Damn.
Not a lot of lefties. Last big lefty.
Without cheating, it's hard. I don't know.
last big lefty you can think of?
The last one, Kenny Stabler, baby.
Kenny Stabler. I just said Mike Vick. Mike Vick was a lefty.
I know. Steve, I always think Steve Young. I think lefty. Mark Brunell is a lefty.
Mark Brunell.
Damn, that's good. That's a good one. I'm gonna think about that.
So if you're listening to this, hopefully you're listening early. Go ahead and tweet at us, right? Tweet at us who you think the last big Matt Leinart.
Well, I think you said good. I know you're an SC guy, buddy, but not in the Todd Marinovich.
Todd Marinovich.
Was Todd Marinovich a better SC quarterback than Matt Leinart?
No, but going back to this, congrats, Lake Braddock, first ever inaugural play of the year, right there, or play of the year.
Well,
is it going to be a play of the year? Is that going to be the play of the year?
Well, I have a feeling play of the year is going to, it'll probably come mid to late season, maybe even the playoffs. But either way, I think Lake Braddock's going to be in that mix throughout the year.
Absolutely.
With that.
So actually, that get us rolling in. Talk about a little Lake Braddock Chantilly.
Yeah, let's do it. I was going to say we got a lot of games to cover, and that's a good place to start, isn't it?
Yeah. So I probably watched more film today and yesterday than I actually watched coaching.
I was going to say you might as well just go back to coaching now, buddy.
Yeah, I watched a ton, but it was awesome. I didn't have to watch it with a knot in my stomach.
Right.
Looking at mistakes that we're making or opponents. So at least I got to enjoy a little more. I think that Lake Braddock scrimmage, one, I'll get into Lake Braddock in a minute, but Chantilly looked really good. I thought Chantilly, last year they struggled a little bit last year in their scrimmage. I watched it last year because we were getting ready for Chantilly in week 2 for us. So I got a chance to see that. But I thought Chantilly looked really well. They lose Chow, right? And they bring in Matarini. Am I saying it right?
Sahir Mantry.
Sorry, Mantry. I apologize. Sahir Mantry. So it kind of fell right. You lose Chow, so it kind of falls on his shoulders. And he looked really good. I mean, so they started off early with red zone is what they did. They were from the 20. And, Braddock was able to score. They had some setbacks. But then Chantilly goes right around. They are going to convert on some things. But they were able to get some momentum going. They look like they weren't overmatched. Chantilly then comes back in the next one, and they get back-to-back sacks, and they force them to go for a field goal, which they miss. And then Chantilly turns around. They take advantage of a few of the Bragg mistakes, and they end up scoring. It's back and forth. I thought they looked really. I was really impressed with Chantilly. So I'm going to talk about Chantilly a little bit first. I was really impressed. That quarterback looks like he's going to be the real deal.
Right.
Only a junior this year. So I think things are looking really bright for Chantilly. I said, and I say like I said all the time, losing Chow is big, and so he didn't have that to kind of lean on. So it kind of fell on his shoulders, and I was really impressed with as well as Chantilly looked.
Well, I mean that's the whole thing, right? I mean we talked about this 2 weeks ago or so when we're previewing the Concord district, and that the young. I mean he's a junior now. They played him as a sophomore because they know he's got talent. They see some stuff in him. And now the next step, right? Can he take that next step? And he's met the first benchmark, right? I mean, comes out against a good team in Lake Braddock, and he plays well. And I talked to a Lake Braddock coach, and he told me he was impressed with the young quarterback. And he said actually there was a couple other balls that he has a couple of drops, so he might have had even a bigger day, you know. So they're very impressed. I think everyone was pretty impressed with the Chantilly quarterback. Yeah,
and my last thing on Chantilly, really quick. On their drive, the field, they get the ball first. You get the 10 plays from the I believe it's from the 20, and they get down the field. They hit this huge play over the middle. I mean, hits a strike, and this kid goes. It's really unfortunately we don't know who, because during the scrimmages they don't have the right numbers. It's really, when we do our game coverage, we'll be able to say things. We have some ideas of who guys are.
It's hard to say. So you're right. It's hard to say.
They go and they punch it in. So now let's talk about Braddock. The first play of scrimmage, you saw it live and in living color. 80-yard bomb.
Man.
Bomb to Kai to the house. I mean,
impressive.
They have the ability on that offense to score from any part of the field. You can never let your guard down.
flick of the wrist.
Yeah.
I mean, between Jackson, look, they scored like 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Austin scoring them. You got Hibner scores one. You got
Bordeaux.
You got Bordeaux, the runaway beer truck.
Yeah.
Pounding one in there. I mean, they got the new scat back they got from Patriot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, if he's the runaway beer truck, he might be the runaway wine cooler truck. I mean, a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
It's an impressive offense.
And watching their scrimmage, there's a lot you have to defend. I mean, you have to defend the whole field with them. They were taking advantage of, their play action game was all over the place. It looked pretty impressive. I know Chantilly got some decent passes, but Braddock just looked the role. They looked the role. They look like they're going to be. They looked how a defending regional champion is going to look. And there was a drive. They dropped 2. I mean, they miss a guy wide open in the middle of the field, and then Kai Austin again on the post, the exact same thing, just a little bit overthrown.
Yeah,
I mean they looked the role. But credit to Chantilly in their pass game.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind too, and all credit to Chantilly. Now, talking to some of the Braddock coaches, talking to a Braddock coach, they are young, and just a general concern, nothing to do with the Chantilly game whatsoever, but a general concern for them is, they're young in the secondary. Their defense is actually relatively young in general.
Yeah,
I wasn't even aware of that. They brought back more of the offensive guys. They lost they lost their whole front line last year, except for I think one guy. Yeah. So they are a little young, but you know what? That's what the scrimmages are for.
Right.
So that's a well-picked scrimmage for both teams, because if they wanted to see, someone test their young secondary, well, they got that in a stud quarterback in Chantilly. So that was a well-arranged scrimmage right there for both teams.
Well, I can tell you the Concord has got something to deal with Chantilly.
Yeah, man.
I think we all know Brack's gonna be really good. But
right. Well, it's good to have Chantilly back.
Yeah.
Chantilly football, and they've been a playoff team in just a couple. I mean, when I say back, but I mean they're heading in the right direction.
Right.
And I like that.
Right.
All right, so go right down the list here. We had Robinson, Centerville.
So we were talking about highlights, right? I hadn't got a chance to watch too much Centerville last year. Shields is really athletic.
Yeah,
I mean, he is really athletic. I mean, I'll give credit to Centerville's offensive line that they gave him some time, and Robinson had some really good coverage early on. I thought they looked really good. I mean, they looked really disciplined. You could tell Shields, but Shields being a coach's son, wasn't really forcing a lot of things. But he breaks the pocket, and it's an issue. One of the highlights I was hoping somebody he would send, because I saw it when I watched it. He rolls to his right and just throws absolute strike down the field. I mean, just what the kids call it, a dot.
Yeah,
and he did. I mean, he hit that. He hit another really long wheel route along the right sideline. Looked really good. Concord team again. I think Centerville's back. I think Centerville, played young, and it looks like they're looking really, really good.
Now talk about Robinson's offense. Can you talk about that at all?
So Robinson, a lot of 2-back and 1-back pro under center. So what's really interesting was last year they started out in spread. They went back to their traditional wing tee. It looks like now they're under center, a little under center, single back 2-back pro, out of I.
Well, they're mixing that kind of that old Westfield offense in there, which is where Coach Blair spent a lot of time.
But I think they're trying to live in a little bit in the traditional Robinson, pound them through, and still trying to bring some more things out there. And I'll tell you, man, being under center, if you're a good under center team, it causes a lot of teams a lot of problems because there's a point where you can't see the football. Between the snap and the quarterback hiding the ball, it can make things difficult. Because there's so many spread teams, right? When teams start doing things like that, it's weird. You and I played, in the 80s and I played in the 80s and 90s. We played in the 90s. That's all we saw, right? All we saw were these 2-backs, 2-backs, 3-backs, tight end, and it was the run and shoot teams that you'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe it's blown my mind.
Right
now, I think the pendulum is swinging where you spend so much time defending the spread and RPOs. when a team comes out and they are, 2 back, 1 back, tight end, it can give you some issues because that's not necessarily what you're ready for.
Now, I didn't see that scrimmage, but that was a little jamboree, wasn't it? Wasn't McLean involved in that? I read good things about McLean. But I didn't see any of it.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see in the McLean part.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah.
On social media, there were people saying some good things about McLean. So, and we'll get back to watching that.
Yeah,
but that's something to keep an eye on too. Don't sleep on McLean.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we got how about Garfield?
So Garfield playing.
You're impressed.
Oh, I am buying Garfield stock, and I'm buying it by the boatload.
Wow.
I am going to our fake MGM. I am cashing out my players account, and I am buying Garfield stock. Wow. Oh my gosh, they looked really good. So offensively, I thought but it was defense. Those guys fly around. Those guys fly around, and they can move. It was just really impressive. Their defense. Edison did show some flashes of offensive capability, but they struggled to kind of sustain drives. What I know I think it was less Edison and more Garfield. I think Garfield because they were just so fast defensively.
Yeah, Edison's they're not slouches. So if Garfield's that good, that's impressive.
Yeah. Garfield had some explosive plays in there.
And I remember our good friend the Adam Schefter of Northern Virginia. That would be Carl Frederick. He was very high on Garfield. So that's now you're saying it too. So I'm starting to buy it. You guys, you're making me a believer.
Now they did have some issues, some snap issues here and there.
Okay,
but it's first scrimmage, right?
Right.
But I was those guys on the backfield all the time. I mean, they were giving Edison fits.
Okay.
All full disclosure, I wasn't able to finish every scrimmage, but I try to watch them if I can, because scrimmages are tough because you don't know. One, because you can't tell numbers. You can't tell when they start putting backups in and JV guys in,
or the third stringers in, or the freshmen in. It's hard to tell some of that. Yeah, no, I agree.
And no disrespect to those guys who are JV guys. But we do cover the varsity football game.
Yeah, right now, of course. I mean, they're part of the program and all that stuff. But we're looking for the varsity games. Yeah,
and next year, if God willing, we're still here. If they don't come shut us down, who knows? I mean, you never know when the secret police come and take us down.
Hey, that could be coaching girls football. Yeah, you don't know what you could be doing.
we could be coaching little girls flag football.
Hey, you know what? I got the flag playbook over here. I'm ready to go.
Which breaking news? I mean, maybe not breaking news, but we did hear rumblings that next fall there will be girls flag football. So
now I don't know how they're going to do that, but if you're listening, whoever the powers that be, if you're listening, I've been saying this for a while. I think it'd be a great I'm a boxing guy, you know that.
Yeah.
Better undercard. What better undercard would it be? At 5:00, 5:30 on a Friday night.
Yep.
The girls come out there and do their thing, right? They play their game.
Right.
You're gonna get people coming. You're gonna get all their friends coming. So you're gonna have the stands will start getting packed already at 5:30, and then boom, then the main event comes on at 7:30. Oh, it's fantastic. It'd be a fantastic Friday night.
It would be absolutely get those ladies underneath the Friday night lights, right?
Yes, it'd be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, get those ladies underneath the Friday night lights. All right. But yeah, so I am buying Garfield stock.
Yeah,
I was really impressed.
Right there. We're going to stay in that division. So Kogan. Now, let me tell you this. I heard some good things about Kogan. A guy who might have been up there in the runnings for player for highlight of the week might have been young George Hall. George Hall was, he looked like a young Dan Marino out there throwing that ball. He was slinging.
Yeah, his first drive they came out and they drove him down the field, and he ended up hitting a 70-yard touchdown pass. Just explosive offensively. They were really explosive offensively. But Langley's running back came out and he looked really good.
He inspired Langley team, by the way.
It was right. They definitely have gone some things this week as a program. and I don't think anybody would have blamed them if they would have, not done well.
Right.
But they come out, so they come out in their spread, and then those of you guys who don't follow Langley football may not know, they also run the double wing, which is not the wing T. They ran the double wing the first time they ran it, 70-yard touchdown.
Wow.
Off the bat, 70-yard touchdown.
Wow.
And credit to Langley staff still being able to put that together with short amount of time with what they're going through. But I do like the fact that Langley does do that. They change it up.
Right.
I spent a year running that offense. I came into a school and that's what they wanted to run, and I kind of learned it. I did learn early on with that offense that they have. So because Langley is a multiple, if you don't spend time, preparing for that offense, it will grind you up and kill you. I mean, it was really effective. So I think in a regular season game, I think that it would have been really good.
I bet.
And Kogan just kind of showed effective bouncer offense. They did struggle here and there, but I thought offensively they looked really good. I know that Coach Scott, I believe it's Coach Scott at Kogan.
Uh-huh.
I thought he has his team really ready to go. I know that Carl Fredericks.
Another. I mean, again, Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
Carl Frederick says that he's high on Kogan too. The Kogan Garfield game ought to be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, both those teams are pointing up, right? Both those teams are pointing up in direction.
All right, West Potomac. Now, this is an interesting one. We know West Potomac pretty well.
Yeah.
I know they played against John Champ. John Champ, not a 6A, so we're not covering them, as much this year. You were really impressed with what you saw.
Yeah. So one, we don't know a lot about John Champ, but John Champ's one of the better teams in the state. I mean, while their school size may not be the same, I thought their football program, and we don't really cover too much on John Champ, but I was really impressed. I mean, and they go fast. I think we'll talk about a little bit what we'll talk about Hayfield in a minute, but they are lightning fast online, and they are very much pushing tempo. But West Potomac takes the opening drive and gets the score.
Yeah, that's key. That's right. The West Potomac that I've come to know.
Yeah, they get that. On their second drive, though, they end up throwing a pick, which ends up stalling kind of momentum for them. So they end up throwing a pick.
And that's something they got to, because I know that there were some, issues there last year. I know, turning the ball over, something that coach wants to kind of, make sure that. I mean, I guess any coach would want to make sure they don't do a lot of that, but that's what preseason's for, right?
Right.
Get that stuff out of your system now.
Now, I think West Potomac struggled a little bit. I think John Champ was able to put some heat on them early. But the no huddle offense. And it seemed later on in one of the series, John Champ had a set of. So I talked before about the last one where some coaches kind of come in and think to themselves, we need to work on some stuff. And it looked like John Champ had a certain series of plays, which essentially was the slot going in like an orbit motion and getting a toss on like a sweep. It seemed like they were running that over and over again because I think they were just trying to work something out.
Right.
But when you're a really good program, a lot of times you're like, look, there's some things that we really want to use later on. We want to see what it looks like, and so I think that's what they were trying to do. But I thought both teams looked good. West Potomac I thought looked okay. Yeah.
So a couple. You had AC Justice.
Yeah.
Now we were able. That one wasn't on NFHS.
Right.
But we did have some people there. They were able to kind of talk to us about what they saw. AC got the better of Justice, obviously, by a pretty good margin. I know Justice, again, coach there. He started. You talked about this a couple weeks ago. He got hired in almost June, May.
Yeah.
It's going to be a slow rebuild.
Yeah.
The people at Justice got to just be patient, right? He's still trying to hire coaches, that kind of thing. So got to be patient. AC, so they're improving from last year, right? You said 0-10 team last year.
Right.
Kind of coming around. They said that, there was I think 4 or 5 touchdowns. I mean, in the first half. Could be a good sign for AC, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta get your feet wet, and you want to get some success, right? 0-10, you need something to kind of be like, okay, we went through a tough time, and now it looks like we're going to be able to turn around and to get you don't get a win in scrimmages, but to have a lot of success, I think early on is important for those kids.
Right. So, yeah, that's big. One that we were excited about, but again, wasn't on the feed. And I don't know what's going on with the feed. I don't know which is one thing I wanted to talk about on here.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'm going to find out, but I don't know what the deal is. Some of these games are saying they're on NFHS, and then they're on there, and then they're not there anymore.
Right.
And I don't know, and I get it. If I'm a coach and they said, "Hey, do you want to pull your game off the feed?" I'd probably say yes if they gave me the option.
Right.
Now I don't know if that's what it is, but all I know is that some games are no longer available on the feed, and I want to know why. So if anyone has the answers to that, why there were some games that have been played that were available live and that are no longer available, I'm dying to know. One of those games was Gainesville and Vernon.
Yeah.
So again, had some people there at the game. Talked to some coaches. The consensus that I heard, Gainesville is a state contender.
Really?
And people were excited about Gainesville. They said they were huge, they were fast, they were physical. That people that I know that saw that game.
It's pretty important. Pretty important football to have those things, huh? That's an important thing in football.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's nice to have speed and size, right? So very impressed with games. Again, we didn't see it because at least as of tonight when we went to record, it was no longer on the feed. But the people who were at the game were very impressed by what they saw from Gainesville.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of no longer on the feed, I was able to catch the first drive of Hayfield.
There you go, another one. There you go. There's quite a few of these.
Yeah, and I watched it, and I was like, well, I'll put that on the list of things I was going to watch later. I put it on my queue on my Netflix, and I went back to my queue, and it was no longer there.
There it is.
So I did get to see the first drive. A lot of penalties. First two plays were, I think, procedure calls. It looked like they're messing up on their motion. So I took that as, you have a bunch of people learning a brand new offense.
But yeah, sure.
So it started first and 20 on the 10, and they proceeded to just move down the field. I talked about John Champ. I'd never seen Freedom play. I just wasn't in anyone. We weren't playing them at all, and so there was no reason for me. I had heard good things about them. I know they're state champs, but for myself, once my football season's done, it is now time to put the Christmas tree and hang out with the family.
That's right. That's right.
So that's why I stopped watching football.
Put on a little Bing Crosby and relax.
I do. But so I stopped watching high school football once my season's done. I don't have a lot of interest in watching anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't watched a lot of Freedom. I had no idea they move at a lightning pace. Those guys the guys who have the sticks with the down markers are sprinting because Hayfield is lined up, ready to go. And I mean
that was a home game, right?
It was a home game. Now, you and I had heard that it was standing room only for a scrimmage home game, is what the rumor was. Now
that's the rumor. Pretty impressive.
But they're really impressive.
Especially when you're playing. By the way, especially when you're playing a team from the beach.
Yeah.
Right. You're playing a 7-5-7 team, and it's standing room only.
Yeah. Yeah. It absolutely was impressive. So they looked impressive on their first drive. I wish I could have watched more of it. But they are who we thought we were. Crown them.
Thank you, Dennis Grant. Well, I mean, we figured that, so it'll be fun. Hopefully, we can. I don't know where they're at. We'll get the list for the games coming up, and then we'll see if we can maybe see it in person, since people are taking off these games.
So those of you guys who are listening, or those of you guys following along, I will be at Hayfield, West Springfield. I will be there live and in living color.
Hey, look at that! The good old coach be at the game.
I will be there.
Like Apollo Creed and Rocky III, kind of giving a handshake to each side before the match.
The question is, who's Clever Lang and who's Rocky? Where are we?
Yeah,
I think we all know who Clever Lang is. We think we all know who Rocky is.
Who's going to tell you to get the hell out of their corner, Creed? I don't know why has been in my corner. Get in my corner, Mesa.
Yeah.
All right. Next, Westfield. Now you caught a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's another one I caught a little bit of. Offensively, I noticed that they run a lot of different things. Like they are in and out of.
Now, who they play?
Independence.
Yeah.
Independence out of Loudoun County.
Yeah.
So I caught a little bit of it. The question was, right, what was Foster going to do? And it looks like Foster's going to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
About Langley, their multiple is extreme. I don't think not Langley, Westfield is as extreme, but they definitely are going to make you have to practice against different things, which, when you have the talent that Westfield has, if you have to, the more time you spend preparing for one thing, the less are you doing for another thing. There's only so much time you can spend in practice. And that wing T is a really, you've got to be specific on it. And much like with Langley's double wing, you don't spend time preparing for that wing T, and it's gonna eat you alive.
Right. No, for sure. So I talked to Coach Vossler after the game, and he was encouraged. He's encouraged. He said it's a process. It's a process. He says the Westfield you're seeing right now is not the team that he saw 2 weeks ago, and he's sure obviously in 2 weeks it's not the same team he's going to see now, and he knows for a fact the team that he's going to have in week 8 and week 9 is not the team that you're going to be seeing when the season starts off in 2 weeks. So it's a process, and they're growing and they're getting better every week, and he's taking it week by week. For him, the key is, and this is the key in all sports, right? Is I don't care where you are now. I don't care if you start off the season 5-0. Where are you at the end of the year?
Right.
Where are you at the end of the year? Because he wants to be playing his best football, and he thinks with the way things are going and the progression of them learning this new offense, and that's been the big thing, is them, bringing that wing T over there, and he's made some variations to it, right? A little bit of gun, a little bit of some other things. So not exactly the way it was done at Robinson for the most part, but it's the offense, and he thinks they'll be rocking and rolling. That's his game plan by the end of the season.
Yorktown, right? Yorktown last year.
That's a good example. That's a great example. It's a great example, right? By the end of the season. Right. It didn't matter what Yorktown did in week 2, week 3, week 4. Right. We were at the end of the season, veteran team ready to rock and roll, man. So he's encouraged. So he said Lucas, Duda, those guys, played good games. But he can't wait for watch this offense kind of progress, and he's got the experienced staff on defense. They're still running the same D. They got the experienced coaches on the defensive side. It's a little more the offensive side of the ball where, there is going to be a little bit of learning curve. So, And then maybe the last game, I think, Oakton and Mount Vernon. Oakton and Mount Vernon.
I know you spent some time watching that.
Yeah, fun game. Fun game. Two teams that we kind of expect a lot from, right? I know you were really high on Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
And when we did the national preview, and I think we all kind of felt that Oakton is a rebuilding team, and they're kind of on their way. Very young team, but Oakton. It's funny because we know Oakton pretty well the last few years.
Yeah,
I think at Woodson we had played Oakton I think every year for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
I think in a row, maybe even more than that. So we knew him pretty well, and the team that I saw, on film. It was a 180.
It was a scheme, right? The scheme is
look. They were. Oakton was like a Coryell offense back. When we were playing, they like throwing the ball. I counted in the first 20 plays. I counted 2 pass plays. Right. At the first, I think 20 plays.
Well, I know you said you thought defensively they were a lot more physical, but I think that comes in practice. It's
if you're running the ball that much, you're getting physical.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've always noticed with teams, their defense is kind of what their offense is. So if you have a team that is ground and pound and all you do is slam into each other all the time, usually your defense is usually pretty physical. Sometimes they struggle with wide open pass games because they don't see that as much.
Right.
Flip side, if you have a team that is Air Coryell, fun and gun out there just throwing all over the yard, then normally your defense is pretty good at adept at covering the pass. Run game wise, not as much. Dash, you're the boxing guru. Styles make fights, right? If you spend with your sparring partner slugging out in the middle of the field, you're probably gonna be able to take a punch or two.
Yep.
Right.
100%. 100%. And so the running game looked very sound. I don't even remember a running game the last couple of years at Oakton. When they were successful, when they were beating teams, they were beating them with the pass.
Yeah.
And So again, I'm sure they're still working on the pass game. There's some things to work on there just from watching the scrimmage. Again, it's a scrimmage. It's scrimmage number one.
Right.
And it's a young quarterback. We've established that too, right?
Right.
I think he's a sophomore. If that's who wins the job, he's a sophomore. So young quarterback, young passing game, young receiver, sophomore. The number one receiver is a sophomore. But man, that running game, they were committed to it, and that's what was impressive, right? And Mount Vernon.
Well, he's a defensive coach, right?
Yes, and O-line, right?
He's a defensive O-line guy.
Yep. And then Mount Vernon. I don't want to sell Mount Vernon short here, though. Mount Vernon, their first drive, though, they looked impressive. That quarterback is at
Grimsley,
right?
Grimsley, yeah.
My handwriting, I can't read it. Yeah, Grimsley looked like the real deal. I was impressed. I know the coach is high on him, and now I get it why.
Well, I saw. I mean, he can sling it.
Yes, he can.
He can sling it.
He can throw. He's very impressive throwing on the run.
Now, because we couldn't see numbers, I mean, we couldn't tell who Moret is, Matthew Moret. We couldn't tell which one he was.
Well, they scored on I think on a 20 on their first drive.
Yeah.
They hit a big play that might have been him. Again, couldn't tell. Probably he looked the part.
Right.
They caught the big play, so it was probably him. Now, to Oakton's credit, defensively, again, I was looking for when the starters were in. I was looking for the same body shapes and the same body types, and that kind of thing. And they kind of after that they kind of did what they had to do. They started shutting down the pass, shutting down the run. I was impressed the way Oakton kind of rebounded from that drive. I mean, when I stopped watching, and because I figured the starters were probably done, it was one score each. I mean, it was a physical ball game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Concord, huh? We could have Concord teams on this pod. Boy, the Concord's going to be rough and tumble, isn't it?
That's the Concord, man. SEC, baby. It's a tough conference. But again, how about Mount Vernon looking tough? I mean, I know everyone's predicting Hayfield, but I get back to you on that. You're a Mount Vernon guy. I think you picked Mount Vernon as your dark horse. Mount Vernon's a solid team, man.
No, that was you who picked Mount Vernon as your dark horse. I picked Falls Church.
I'm a smart guy, aren't I?
I picked Falls Church, which unfortunately we'll see this week. Hopefully we'll be able to see something. We did hear Hilton. Hilton struggled. They said Hilton had is a learning program. I think I know they said that has some things, but they're trying to correct some right.
Another young team.
Another young team.
Right.
From what we heard, that they had some highs and lows in it.
Right.
I heard it was a 3-way scrimmage. It was a jamboree.
Jamboree. I love a good jamboree.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. I love a good jamboree. Now, that leads us to next week's scrimmages. Now, they're going to be, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe some games on Friday. So you got 3 days maybe of games.
Yeah. Yeah.
A smorgasbord of games. Right.
Definitely excited to go see some more out there.
I'm going to tell you right now, I might be making an appearance at making the drive from Fairfax. I'm a Fairfax guy. You know that. But I'm making the drive from Fairfax all the way out to Woodbridge. And I might be at the Hilton versus Woodson game. That's a game to me. I think that's going to be a fun one. You got Coach Henderson, you got Coach Van Acker, you got two blue bloods right there, buddy. Two freaking hard-nosed coaches going at it, no holds barred. I'm excited.
Two coaches who played each other in playoffs. They have playoff history.
They both coached at Woodson, right? Yeah. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. Like Zeus and Hulk Hogan, no holds barred, brother.
No holds barred. Do you know that was the first pay-per-view movie I ever ordered? Was No Holds Barred.
That's a bad movie, but I loved it as a kid. But it's a bad movie.
It was straight to pay-per-view.
No, I saw it in the theater.
Sure,
dude, I saw it in the theater. Me and my older brother saw it in the theater.
I ordered No Holds Barred. There was a match between Zeus and Hulk Hogan.
Yes, there was
an actual match. Right after the pay-per-view was over, you got to watch Zeus versus Hulk Hogan.
So that's why they did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiny Lister couldn't wrestle, but it. he was still. I mean, he was a Greek god, you know.
Well, I mean, he was Debo.
He was Debo.
Yeah.
So, as far as scrimmages go next week, other than no holds barred, which I can't wait for on Wednesday night. Hopefully the weather's nice. And if anyone has any food ideas out in the Hilton area, I'm all ears. I don't know if there's a Roy Rogers out there. There's a Krispy Kreme out there.
I thought you're a Smoky Bones guy. I thought you liked the Smoky Bones.
I mean, I love brisket.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just saying, I love Roy's. If there's a Roy's out there, I'm heading to you. There's a Bojangles out there I'm going to. So we'll find out.
I love Lamp. I love Lamp.
Any other top of your head yet? I know we got a show coming up in a couple of days where we're going to preview next week's games. Anything that you outside of Hilton Woodson that you like?
At a Hilton Woodson. Oh, I mean, let's see. I off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. Can't think of anything on top of my head. I'll take a look. Take a look. And this is the preseason game, right? This is the 4 quarters.
Yep. Dress rehearsal. The full dress. The full
dress rehearsal.
Full Monty.
I don't know about that one, but
well, I don't even know what that means. But
you said you don't know what it means?
Yeah, it's the real thing. The real McCoy. How's that? The real
McCoy. Well, I mean, the movie, the Full Monty, means they were naked.
I don't know. I don't know about all that stuff, but real McCoy. It's the genuine article. Whatever cliche you want to use, This is it. This is it, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here we go. Right. We got one more week, and then after that, it's for keeps. We're playing for keeps.
Time. It's go time, baby. Now you got to start pulling. And what I'm going to do, starting week 1, saving this. Got Monopoly over there. I'm going to pull out the Monopoly. I'm going to pull out the actual Monopoly money, and we're going to start putting it down on certain games. You know, I got all the orange $500 bills. So I'm going to start putting them down, baby.
So I don't think anyone makes it to this part of the pod. So I'm curious. If you made it this far, I want you to tweet at us if you'd be interested in getting a all Hitches podcast fantasy football league.
That's how you know. If they say yes, then you know they were listening.
If you tweet us, we're like, I'm in for an all Hitches fantasy football league. Then how about this? Winner gets to host a show with us. Winner, you get to come on.
And let me say this: if we got enough people to do a league, and I'm already in enough leagues, but I would do one more, like Jack Palance in City Slickers. just one thing. If we could do one more, I would do a guillotine league. You ever heard of a guillotine league?
Guillotine league? No, I've never heard.
Sounds great. So you have your league, you're scoring same way you would do in any other league, but it's essentially an elimination league, which I think would be perfect for my last league that I don't need anymore in my life. And you go 17 weeks, you get 17 owners.
Yeah.
17 owners, 17 weeks. You draft your team, and every week the lowest score is out.
It's like rotisserie. So
you're out every week.
But what I'm saying is the lowest score, whoever has the lowest point total for that week, gone.
Out. And then you got 16 owners, and you got 15, and you dwindle your way.
Week 1, you could score 400 points, but in week 2, you don't score 400 points. Gone. I'm in.
That would be amazing. So, and it's an easy league, right? You get eliminated, you get done, you wash your hands, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
So, guillotine league. We just need 17. We need 15 more people. You got 2 right here.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a good.
You made it far. One more thing, right? You made this far. Subscribe to the podcast.
Please subscribe. We should have started off with a little begging, a little groveling.
Yeah, we should always do it at the beginning, but we're too excited. Too excited about football.
Yeah, that's true.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to Spotify.
Yep. Get on there. We're approaching 100 followers on YouTube.
We are approaching 100 followers.
That's impressive. 100 subscribers. I've had people tell me who have channels that it's very hard for something like this, something local and niche like this, to get 100 followers in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So kudos to you and I. Kudos to all of our subscribers.
Well, I mean, we are the greatest Nova football podcast in history. I'm curious if has there been another Nova football podcast?
Maybe a Villanova one. We are the place to be.
We are the eyes and ears of this here institution.
I tried to tweet it. It didn't get much traction. No one thought it was funny. I guess we're the only Breakfast Club fans, I guess.
Yeah, we're old.
Well, folks, it's been fun. We got we'll see you guys in in about 2 nights. We're gonna come out with the preview episode for scrimmage number 2.
Yep.
Scrimmage number 2. So get ready, hold on to your hats. It's gonna get good. It's gonna get real good.
Yeah, it's gonna get fun.
Coach Mesa.
Yes, sir.
Been real, my friend.
It has been good.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.